My question is to the Auditor General, and I want to raise the issue of Red Sucker Lake. Red Sucker Lake has a water treatment plant that was constructed in 1995. We know that the infrastructure in Red Sucker Lake First Nation to deliver dependable and clean drinking water is simply not where it needs to be. In fact, when Red Sucker Lake was dealing with the COVID-19 outbreak before the end of December, it took the Canadian Forces to come in and identify clearly that only one water truck to service the community was not only not adequate, but it was actually contributing to making people sick with COVID-19. These are catastrophic implications. The AG report referred to how in many cases ISC seem to rely on short-term solutions like water trucks and not enough of them to solve water advisories. But what we saw with Red Sucker Lake is that's not what's needed. What is keeping Indigenous Services Canada from making the investments necessary to ensure communities don't have to rely on unsafe water practices like in the case of Red Sucker Lake?
I do acknowledge that's when so many communities have to deal with short-term and long-term drinking water advisories and all these temporary measures, that they lose confidence in their water system. And that is definitely something that needs to be reversed and addressed. All I can tell you is what we found in our audit that showed the lack of the department's ability to meet its commitment, and I linked it to a lack of a regulatory regime and issues with the funding formula, and then hence the inappropriate funding to those communities. Your more pointed question will have to go to the department as to why it's taken so long to address those matters.
Well, let's turn it to the department. In the case of Red Sucker Lake, why has it taken so long? And frankly, the Canadian Forces to show up to say that what they're facing is downright unsafe.
I think I would say that in situations like Shamattawa, Red Sucker Lake, and what we've seen in COVID, we have been working in lockstep with community leadership to support them during this pandemic. And as you noted, there has been, COVID has pointed to the lack of housing and some of the other socioeconomic gaps that exist. And what I can say is we are committed to working with Red Sucker Lake, with Shamattawa, and using these investments to have long-term solutions for the community.